But I love Waylon's records, and I love that sound. I mean, it's a West Texas kind of thing, It doesn't sound like Buddy Holly's music, but there's like, you listen to something like Well All Right by Buddy Holly, and it's a do 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 G F G do 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 G F, that 1 and the 7 the 1. That's sort of like, it's got this rocky desert kind of out there kind of sound. And I mean, maybe that was just in the water out in West Texas, and maybe some of it was Buddy Holly's influence. But whenever I hear, Waylon records where, and it's such a stripped down sound, I know that Holly was always so much about, you don't need a lot of people to make a record. You just need like 3 or 4 guys, and you don't have to have fills. You can just let the rhythm guitar be the focus and let that be the solo. And Waylon definitely, he must have learned a lot from that brief little moment that he was working with Buddy. Because I hear a lot of not obvious, but, kind of third layer of the onion type, deep down in it, little things that make me, think that influence stayed with him the whole time. It's kind of a product of its time when you think about that music used to be in what you call full time, where it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, bass snare, bass snare, bass snare, bass snare. And songs would be like this. And then somewhere in like the mid to late 60s, people started playing halftime, which gave it a deeper sound, which was instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And the music got like this deeper groove to it because the drums were playing half as much, and it made it sound heavier. And I think Waylon was one of the first people in country music to sort of latch on to the power of that, and sometimes they wouldn't even use the snare drum. A lot of times it would just be the bass drum playing along with the bass and just go boom, 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 boom. It was like a march. You think like a marching band with a guy with a bass drum, boom, 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 just like this heartbeat. It didn't have a lot of backbeat. And before that, I mean, you listen to country music like in Hank Williams era or up through that, it's all very much on the offbeat, zoom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. It's got that swing to it that you get with the offbeat. But Waylon's music had this rocky, earthy thing that put it down in the ground that was all about 1 and 3. 1 and 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, boom, boom. It just basically made the bass sound bigger. And that was kind of a new thing for country music. I think that's part of why he maybe got a little bit of blowback about wanting to, do things his way and all that. I think a lot of people related to it because I think country music has always moved and it's always grown, and there's always been resistance within country music to play it safe and do it the same old way. But at the end of the day, country music, whether we like it or not, is a tributary of pop music. You listen to Bob Wills records and it's frontier fiddle music, but influenced by big band swing. You listen to, you listen to Hank Williams and you hear those steel parts that Don Helms played. And he said, I was just, big into Artie Shaw and, like big band horn sections, those types of lines. Patsy Cline sound was basically, Owen Bradley trying to compete out of Nashville with like Connie Francis and people like that who were making, it was pop music, or Johnny and Jack doing those, Poison Love and Ashes of Love with the Latin beat. That's when the whole rumba craze was going on in popular music, So country music has always been influenced by popular music. And I think that if Waylon hadn't have done it, maybe somebody else would have. Not just like that, though. And it's great that it happened the way that it did, But then with Ralph Mooney put on top of it, again, to bring things back around to Ralph Mooney, just to give it that, that country twangy layer of things, which I don't know what Moon would have really thought about that music, because he was kind of an old world country music person. I don't know if I think he would, have preferred being off to play with Wynn Stewart or someone like that. But what he did with that Waylon sound, I mean, when you listen to like Rainy Day Woman or something like that, it's like, man, that's like such a, that heavy with it just makes you want to jump up in the air and go, yeah, country music,